Breathwork changed my life, now I'll help you change yours. In 2013, my world was turned upside down when my partner was murdered. I was thrown into grief, a place I never expected to be. The last decade plus has been a journey of healing, learning what works and what doesn't. Also how to rebuild from the darkest of places. I founded Vidya Breathwork, a method designed to make healing simple and accessible, and now I train facilitators to share this transformative practice globally. Welcome to The Dark Side with Verity, the podcast where we get real about transformation, growth, and step. Let's begin today by closing your eyes, and we'll take one deep breath to sync up. A big inhale through the nose, and a long, slow exhale. Relax the shoulders, relax the jaw. Let your body be here and now. And what is it that your body needs you to know? Beautiful. As we prepare for today, reflection is a wild thing, right? We can look back and think, if only I'd known, if only I had more information at the time. There's always a reason. Perhaps people didn't know, perhaps you weren't privy to the knowledge at the time, or perhaps you just needed to learn in your own time. When I look back and see how many moments that having an understanding, a deep understanding of my nervous system would have been beneficial, it's wild. Growing up with, as a female, body issues, your body's changing, anxiety, people speaking to you meanly, whatever it was, your nervous system education would have helped. Whether it's now you're an adult, you have to speak online, or you speak in front of a group, or you have to have tough conversations with your partner, understanding your nervous system will be beneficial. Our nervous system is our control center for our body. So whether you're in business or whether it's your personal life, being able to be resilient in all aspects, and I don't mean to be like strong to your detriment, because as I've said, that doesn't work. Like you can be strong and rigid, but you need to have flexibility in the mix as well. It's the balance of your masculine and feminine. We are made up of all pieces and parts so that we function in a beautiful, flowy way. There's no balance. We don't stay in this like calm wave of one line. It really is a journey of up and down, and our body needs to become accustomed to that, because the better you are at dealing with the unknown, the easier things will become. And so last time we touched on taking that one deep breath. All I want you to do now is add on another 6. So 7 deep breaths will allow your body to drop into the parasympathetic nervous system. So this is where your body is calm, safe, supported. You can think clearly. Your body responds. You're able to answer with conviction. Your hormones are happy. You digest food properly. Everything functions beautifully in this space. So teaching our body at every different moment that it's safe over time, like I said, consistency is what's going to change this whole aspect of our body. Adding this into your day, and I recommend morning, first thing in the morning as soon as you wake up, and before every meal, and before you go to sleep, and before anything big, eventful, stressful is happening. And I always know if I get to breath 3, and in my mind, I'm like, oh, I don't have time for this. Like, we are breathing anyway. All we are doing is cultivating more awareness in the moment at the time. And it doesn't need to be a whole procession of your meal is in front of you, you close your eyes and you pray. It can be. All I'm saying is if you can do this, and nobody needs to know. I mean, you can tell people, you can lead by example, but really just make this your own practice, because this is for you. Your breath is the one thing that is going to help you through life. It is the one thing that you can control. It'll shift your brain state. It'll shift your mood. It can be this simple. Okay, so let's practice before we keep talking anymore. Place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly underneath your belly button. All you're going to do is inhale for 4 counts through the nose and a long slow exhale through the mouth for 8. Blowing it out. As you inhale, feel the lower belly rise, and as you exhale, feeling it fall. And I really want you to use your top hand to just apply a little bit of pressure to the chest, because ultimately we want to teach the body just to breathe in the lower belly. And it may feel weird, it may feel new, and it may feel over-exaggerated and forced, but once you get this into play, it's going to feel easy to just do in those moments where it's in a crowded room and there's lots of people and you don't have the time and space to really check in. All I want you to do is just know that it is possible, and you have it with you at every moment, every living moment, it is with you. So remember, these 7 breaths will shift you into your parasympathetic state. This is where you're calm, and this is where everything will function in a beautiful way for you. Pause. So a little bit more about your nervous system. Like, how does it work? Your nervous system has 3 functions: your sensory input, how it integrates, and then your motor output. So this is really allowing your body to move through the processes. And you can already see with these 3 shifts, if it is not functioned properly and you're in like complete freeze mode, this is just all going to be frozen. So when we put pressure on ourselves to answer quickly, especially after the death of a loved one, you're in freeze mode for quite some time. So when you look back and reflect of, well, I used to be able to do 50 things in a day, maybe you just get to do 1. And I know this to be true. I had a business coach at the time that Josh passed away. Claire was amazing. She helped me through a lot, because we would have our business meetings and I would still be in bed. And I knew like the phone was ringing. I would be filled with anxiety, like I hadn't done anything. And she would just say, like, just answer the phone and we'd just have a chat. I'd lay in bed, I'd speak to her. And she was a business coach and knew lots of like NLP techniques and a coach. So we would just talk. And she printed out a sheet. I will find it. I'll put it in here for you, because I was able to break down my day and hour by hour, like write down what I needed to do, because I needed to get it on paper. Otherwise, it's just a mess in my brain at that point in time, and overwhelm would happen. Like I said, I was in freeze mode, so nothing was functioning. And then I had this was my favorite part: 7 things that I needed to achieve today. And if you're moving through grief, organizing, bank accounts, like all these things that are just really shit to have to go through and deal with. And at every phase through grief, like none of it is a beautiful scenario or setting to go into. From the very beginning, when you're going to the hospital, seeing the body, obviously that's the most horrendous space to go to. It's in a hospital, it's like dark and dingy. Then you go to the funeral home. It's out of the like 1950s. I'm an interior designer. And so walking in there, it's like old red carpet, like dingy. None of the coffins look modern or look anything like you would want to be put in. All of the pieces of the urns, nothing is cool. Nothing represented how much of a legend Josh was. They did have beautiful like jewelry, so I had a gold pendant, and you can place some ashes in there, which was one of the most beautiful presents. Unfortunately, that was stolen in Bali when I lived in Bali. Each place you go to, and then the next place, it's all the banks, Centrelink. Oh, they're just horrendous. Like conversations that you have to do to tie up loose ends, I guess. God, what a way of putting it. Anyway, my dad and family and everybody were here helping me work through these, and I could only manage 1 per day. And the rest that was on my list was close your eyes and meditate, make a green juice, because I was obsessed with green juices at the time, which I'm very grateful, because my nervous system, all the stuff that I know now about gut health and my nervous system, it was probably like the one thing that was kind of keeping everything in alignment, if it was even in alignment. But these 7 things that I I was able to do, just putting them on paper, some of them would be take my dog for a walk. And so in those moments, everything needs to be very simplified. And that's kind of the extreme version, but it's the same. If you are going through a tough time in life, you've got to be compassionate with yourself. Because if you are trying to push yourself, you're putting yourself into more stress. And if there's at no point your nervous system realizes a sensation of calm and stillness and pause and knowing that it's safe, you're not going to be able to move through to the next phase. You're not going to be able to heal, because conscious to all these like amazing breathwork techniques that we have at the moment, the body needs to be safe before it can release. And so imagine you're going into a big deep breath session and your body's an onion. When you're little, your heart is like beautiful, nothing bad has happened, no one said a bad word, you're always enough, you're always worthy. And then over time, you put on all these little protective layers like an onion. And those layers are, someone maybe said something you were mean or told you that your drawing was not right. And you've just put all these layers on top to protect yourself. So as you're an adult, or when you decide to start your healing phase, these layers slowly come off. And they come off when your body is safe, because they were put there in an unsafe space. So when I teach breathwork and when all my facilitators teach breathwork, you've got to have a massive toolkit. And I want you all to have the same toolkit, because that way you can check in and know, okay, my body is very overwhelmed and stressed. I need to do a breath that's going to calm my body down. And opposite, like if I need to be like boost, I need a bit of energy, I need to like a bit of go in me, then I'm going to do like a breath of fire or get my body pumped so that I'm ready. There's a breath for everything. It is the solution to the world. In each of these moments, it is just coming back to the breath and equipping yourself with as many tools that are going to help and assist you through the process. So our nervous system is parasympathetic, which you'll know when you keep practicing those deep belly breaths, and then the sympathetic. So sympathetic is the controlled stress that we spoke about. All of these are controlled with your breath and your vagus nerve. So you've probably heard about the polyvagal theory. This is like your brain and body connection. So vega in Latin means to wander. You have all of these nerves wandering around your body. It's over 100 billion. But your vagus nerve is the most important because it controls our breathing. And we are the ones that control our breath. So we control our vagus nerve. I know. It's wild getting into this space and time of understanding the breath and the body. To simplify it, your dorsal vagus is the pathway that initiates complete immobilization. So understanding your nervous system, we have your parasympathetic. This is where everything's calm, everything's working like it should. This is activated by cues of safety and connection. And this is the pathway to social engagement. It's like our interconnectedness with ourselves. Our hearts are open, we feel safe within ourselves, but also in the presence of others. Then we have our sympathetic nervous system, and this is our responsible for mobilization. So when it's like you're ready to run in old times from the tiger, the blood literally goes to your thighs, it goes to your biceps, and you are ready to like bolt because you are under threat or perceived threat. Nowadays, it's probably your phone ringing and you see a message, you're like, oh, I forgot to get back to that person. But the body feels this wave over it of like, oh no. The other one is the dorsal vagus. And so this is the pathway of complete immobilization. This is where your body freezes. And so this is a state of numbness or dissociation. And so when perhaps you've heard of people that have had like been in a horrible scenario of abuse or rape and like, well, what did you do? And like, nothing. Like my body could not move. I was frozen. This is when you're in that shutdown phase. And so having an understanding of all of these responses, this is going to help you navigate your emotional and psychological states. Because this is when we recognize these, the state of protection, mobilization, or social engagement. This is your tune in, check in. And once you understand your breath, you understand how your body responds, you're going to become a better communicator because you know yourself. So every single human needs to understand their nervous system and understand how they can work with it. It's why I combined the two most important breaths for your body in a 5-minute practice. So the Vidya daily practice is a combo of the belly breathing and then the powerful conscious connected breath. Because this is where we're taking our body through its paces. We go to the gym, we practice yoga. When we want to learn something, we like push our bodies. It's the same with your nervous system. If you try and remain calm all the time, it's just not going to work. It's just not possible. Someone is going to say something to you and you'll be like, oh, and then your body shoots into that sympathetic state. So when you're in a place where you put your body into controlled stress, it knows that it's going to be okay. So a 5-minute practice is all you need to implement to really understand this, to help your body move forward. Because when we're not okay, the body just wants to isolate. Our life force is depleted. We maybe feel like floaty or spaced out. One of my best friends used to, probably still does, calls me Cloud, because I just would be head in the clouds because that felt safer to me at the time. We all have our coping mechanisms, and like, I won't lie, being in denial sometimes is just a nicer place with the world and how it can be sometimes. But doing it in a moment where you feel safe and grounded is important. When you're in shutdown and you're not okay, you just feel disconnected from everyone around you, your friends, your family, and you're unable to handle change. So I spoke about when, like, my food, like, I didn't want any unhealthy food in my fridge. Or if I felt that something wasn't going the way I'd planned, my body was just like ripped into this horrible space. And then there's no energy to like explore or do new things. And that's when you can go into a state of numbness or depression. It's why travel was one of the most healing things that I've ever done. Think about when say you look at a baby and they're looking at new things. Their eyes are like moving side to side. They're exploring. This is something that's calming for the body. And so if you're ever feeling stressed out, just go for a walk, look around, see things with fresh eyes. It's why traveling, everything's new, it's exciting, it's a new country. And then on the flip side, when you are okay, your life force, you feel filled with vitality. You want to hang out with people, you feel safe, you feel grounded, you're willing to take risks, you're curious. And so this is where you start to move out of the freeze phase and you start to understand your body a little bit more. Like, why am I feeling like this? Or how can I feel a little bit better? Or how can I make myself a little bit happier? And you feel settled and hopeful. So understanding the difference can be groundbreaking for your life, for your business. Think about if you're adding a 5-minute breath practice to your morning or your evening, that's going to help your nervous system. Because if you learn this, you can then teach your kids. Imagine if your kids knew all of this when they were younger. It's something that I wish was in schools, and maybe it will be soon, but this is your commitment to better humans. If we all take self-responsibility for our own healing and think 5 minutes a day can be enough, everyone is going to feel better, everybody will understand themselves better, and we can all breathe easy. Because the opposite of this is lashing out at your friends and family, feeling like the world is against you. There are so many times when I did not understand my nervous system, and through the process of grief, one of my coping mechanisms was just to drink, to numb out. And like that worked for a short period of time. And when I say worked, it made me stop thinking in the time. The next day, the anxiety was crippling. Like, I would not be able to get out of bed. I remember recording myself, and this was the final straw. I was laying in bed. I filmed myself because I felt so shit. I did not want to be alive. I didn't know, because of already sitting on this like little balance of a scale of survival mode. And then you take away that chunk of survival and mini bit of happiness, and then you're just left with this like flat line that does not feel great. So that recording of myself, I've not gone back and watched that. I don't even know where it is now, but it was not a pretty sight. And it was from that moment in time that I committed to stop drinking, because it was not serving me in any which way possible. And that was like 10 years ago. So not drinking back then at the age, it was like a rare thing, but all of my friends were beautiful because I just can't, like, I'm not okay the next day. Now, not drinking is the thing. I love that it's made normal to go out and have kombucha or soda water with your lemons, limes, and you still go go out and have a really good time, and you wake up the next day and go for a run. Like, feeling good is so good. Learn your nervous system. We are on this journey together. That's a wrap for this episode of The Dark Side with Verity. I trust it's given you clarity, sparked awareness, and allowed you to breathe a little deeper, plus a little takeaway to integrate into your life. If this has resonated, I'd love you to leave a 5-star review, of course. More importantly, I would love you to share this with someone who's on their journey and needs a little bit of assistance. Come hang out with me over at Instagram at Verity Jo Coonan or The Dark Side with Verity, or start to explore Vidya Breathwork at verityjocoonan.co. Until next time, breathe deep, trust the process, and keep expanding. Much love.